You're live.
Alrighty, it's 5 p.m. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Alrighty, we'll begin with a quick roll call. Mr. Barton.
Here.
Mr. Freshair.
Present.
Dr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Chapman.
Here.
Dr. Manning.
Here.
Alrighty, good to go. Everybody will stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have no delegation at this time, so we'll move into reports and start with the Calhoun Gilmer Career Center Administrative Council. Mr. Barton.
We had a pretty good meeting our last one. We're going to make some significant changes down there. One is the computer systems repair course they're going to drop the robotics part of it because it doesn't really, people going out and being able to go into the workforce, it wasn't too much. They're going to add informational management in its place, and we think that'll be a good fit. They have hired a new welding instructor. His name is Trey Fulton. And the adult basic education teacher that was there in the past had been just serving from the center. He will be coming to Gilmer County also. I'm not sure where it'll be at the library. It'll be at GSU, but they are planning on him coming up this direction. We hired a new assistant director, Dr. Gungle.
Talon Gungle.
Yep. She came from the high school, and we're getting ready we posted a position. If funding is available, we will start up an electrical program this year. The estimated cost was $80,000. And the director thought that she can get her hands on that amount of money. If that's the case, we will have an electrical program. And at the end of the 2 years, students coming out of there should be able to get their journeyman's license and go into the workforce. When they post the position, if funding is available, they will post for electrical HVAC preferred. Hopefully get somebody with HVAC certification. And it costs about twice as much to start that lab as it does the other one. So that's something that they're looking at being able to do. If the $80,000 startup fee, if it's not available, they will post for an additional health services instructor because there wouldn't be enough kids, they think, to fill the other slot. So, but they're looking for the electrical HVAC if at all humanly possible. Dr. Minnie stepped down because of his wife was the director there, and he no longer is chair of the board that's down there. Mr. Fitzwater was elected the chair, and I was elected the vice chair. And they are getting ready to start their $12 million renovation project, which is lighting and heating, air conditioning. The architect was in there one day last week, and they were going over prints and things when I stopped back to take care of some other paperwork. So things are looking up. They've about got the welding lab. They were redoing the ventilation system. They were doing them in most of the labs and new lighting. If you've ever been in it, was pretty dark and was a lot of smoke from the welding because there weren't sufficient to change the air. So that should be fixed. So hopefully we'll have a new program when school starts and be able to get people out and become journeymen and go to work.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Barton. Dr. Manning, you have anything else you need to add for?
I don't think so. One thing that I probably should add is they surveyed the students and tried to focus the program that they started on what the students requested. Their first request was cosmetology, actually, and it was going to take 2 teachers and a lot of startup costs. The second request was an electrical program, so that's why they focused on electric.
All righty. That'll move us out of reports, and we'll move on to the consent agenda and start with the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 8th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 8th, 2024. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All righty. We will move on to finance items. Ginger.
Well, I think it was a pretty light agenda. We just, well, I guess like call it that. That one does. We had some that we were able to give you from 25 that were paid, and then some of the older ones from 24. Those we just got this morning, and I think I put a letter with those because Devin couldn't print them without me in my office. It automatically goes to my printer, and because my laptop wasn't here, it wouldn't print. So I think it's pretty straightforward, and then I think I have 2 items down there below we'll discuss during new business.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve bills for payment and additional bills.
Second.
All right. It's been properly moved and seconded to pay bills for payment and the additional bills presented in the agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion?
I just have one question here when I find it. And what's the one for the P card purchases?
Which list are we looking
I think it's in your first list, if I recall.
The first one.
I think it's your scan cards.
I mean, it's for June.
These people, aren't they your scan cards?
In my stuff, it's the last
It's like a
page.
credit card.
Yeah.
for? Can I see it on there? I'm not able to get to it.
Page 8 of the
You want
first,
the- Go ahead, Dustin.
yeah, page 8 of the first. So, let's see, invoice. I don't know, things that was out,
062824.
1,450, 10
Yeah.
cents.
I'm just curious.
So it's U.S. Bank National Association missed P card purchase for June 1.
I would have to go pull that. I'm not sure. It sounds to me like we didn't get one of the invoices paid. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not it. When we were processing that June payment for the P card, I'd have to go pull it to see what it was. Those June payments are hard because we have both of the schools enter, and then also Stacy enters a bunch of stuff up here, and none of those people were in during the month of June. So we just may have missed an invoice that was part of her purchase. And
What's
I'd
it-
have to go pull it to see specifically. I can send you an email with that information if you like. or-
Okay, I just wondered what was purchased. It just said missed and I wasn't sure what.
Yeah, we'll work on our descriptions. That's just another piece of the puzzle that they're trying to get everybody on board with. It's just gonna take, talking about it a lot. Because I would really like it if the system could operate where we all knew what it was just at a glance. But that's not the way it is, and I'm
Understood.
working on it.
Understood, ma'am.
Can I send you an email?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have an email, okay. All right, I will send that out either this evening or in the morning.
Not a problem, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Ginger, on the second list under additional bills, and if you can go back and look, and it may, there's 3 Hope Gas, but and they say tariff for each month. Well, all of those are way odd amount. I mean, so is that different than the regular bill they send? Do we pay those separately?
Okay, so I had learned a lot about gas.
Okay.
Because those accounts were a little bit wonky. They had posted some of our regular payments. No, they had posted the tariff payments, which are The reason it's named tariff is a larger capacity
Okay,
of gas or something. That's how they explained it to me.
okay,
Those have been posted to our regular bills. So our regular bills were showing these large credits, and they're normally pretty small bills, 150, 130, at a time. And then the tariff bills were showing large past due amounts.
okay,
So about 3 days and several hours later, you have everything now that catches us up through the end of June for all 3 of the small accounts as well as the large account.
okay.
And that is in place of the $8,900 that we talked about the last meeting. I wanted to bring it back to you because the $8,900 wasn't correct. It was actually less than that once we got to the bottom of it, but I still wanted to see it again.
Okay.
Once we got the actual numbers.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, is there any other further questions on bills for payment and additional bills for payment? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right. All right, we're to open enrollment. Dr. Manning.
You got one student, Axel Somerville, 6th grade, coming in from Lewis County to approve for open enrollment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the superintendent's recommendation on the open enrollment sheet. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right. That will put us down to new business adoption, resolution of Neola policy manual. Dr. Manning.
As you can see, all the Neola proposed policies have been on public comment for 30 days. The policies have been reviewed by the administration. Changes will be made as deemed necessary. You're able to review the policies by clicking on policies in the upper right corner on board docs and going to the active policies in the drop-down box there. But we spent a lot of time getting to this point, and there's a resolution that we need to pass to make all of these things active and so on and so forth. But there's been probably 10 to 15 people spend a lot of hours in the past year working on these policies and policy manuals. So I want to make a recommendation moving forward to go ahead and pass the adoption resolution and move to proceed to read that resolution and have the board vote and pass that resolution.
Make a motion that we approve this adoption resolution. Resolved that the bylaws and policies published on the school county website, boe.gilmer.k12.wv.us, and codified in the comprehensive document entitled Bylaws and Policies of Gilmer County Board of Education are hereby adopted, and that all bylaws and policies heretofore adopted by the Gilmer County Board are hereby rescinded. Further be it resolved that in the event any policy, part of a policy, or section of the bylaws is judged to be inconsistent with law, inoperative by a court of competent jurisdiction, or is invalidated by a policy or contract duly adopted by this board, the remaining bylaws, policy, and parts of policy shall remain in full effect. Take notice that the foregoing resolution was adopted by the Gilmer County Board of Education at a public meeting held at Glenville, West Virginia on July 22nd, 2024.
Second.
All righty. I'm not going to try to repeat that. So.
I'm glad I just had the second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the proposed policy manual from Neola and rescind all other policies that the county currently has. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
I swear you all just like me because I can read.
All right.
I like to say well spoke.
All right, Dr. Minnie, we're on to MOU with Glenville State University.
This is our standard memorandum of understanding with Glenville State University. It's attached there. This is for the relationship that we have with teacher education. And it's my recommendation to make a motion to approve the county and institution of higher education articles of agreement for the university student pre-service teacher, interns, and residents between Gilmer County Schools and Glenville State University.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the county and the institution of higher education articles of agreement for the university student pre-service teachers, interns, and residents between Gilmer County Schools and Glenville State University. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion?
I have a question. Do we oversee that in a sense of kids and the time that they spend with learner teachers? Like I'm saying, if let's say that a group of kids first semester has a teacher from the college come down and do their student teaching, and let's say that that's a math teacher, and then the next semester they have another math teacher come. Well, then that student, I mean, I know that they work off of our teachers' lesson
but
plans.
You're saying that you might have two in 1 year might be detrimental to our students?
That's what I'm asking. Is that oversaw? Is like, do
Yes,
look at
we
that?
try to place and.
Or just year after year after year, because from my understanding, being in such close relation and partnership with Glenville State College, we do take a lot of
We do.
student teachers and what such not.
We
And,
do.
you know, I just don't want it to be at the risk of our students.
Detriment.
Yeah,
our
to the detriment. Yeah.
students.
You know what I mean?
And it's always, they try to place with our teachers with the most experience in the content area and things like that. So we do a pretty good job of working back and forth that way.
I've really never had my kids complain.
No, mine neither. It's just something I was thinking
Yeah.
about because, we have, those are teachers
Mm.
learning to teach,
Right.
so. That's it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Alrighty, we're to permission to pay payroll vendors as needed for the 2024-2025 school year. Ginger.
Okay, so what a lot of counties do, and I don't know if this is a requirement, but thought it was worth exploring, that the payroll vendors that are paid through the accounts payable system, typically we receive an invoice and we pay that. So a lot of counties consider that an accounts payable as opposed to a functional payroll. So because of that, they have their board approve those, but of course, it's completely impossible to approve it in advance because we're having to run payroll every 2 weeks regardless of what the board meeting schedule is. So we would like to provide those lists to you after they occur and let you see, those items as they happen and approve them after the fact. And we're talking about things like their tax payment for both the federal and the state government, retirement, workers' comp.
Mandatory.
Yeah, and other items that we collect from people's checks that they ask us to and forward on their behalf to insurance companies, 403B companies, that kind of thing. This is nothing outside of that. It's just strictly what happens with the payroll.
I got you, Hillary. Rest that mouth over there. I make a motion to give permission to pay payroll vendors as needed for FY '25.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to give permission to pay payroll vendors as needed for FY '25. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion?
No, I just realized we're making Hillary do all that talking with that sore mouth over there. Trying to help you out from here on out.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All righty. We'll go to the next item, permission to pay West Virginia Cares and Intego as needed for FY '25. Ginger, you're back on.
Okay, so this is when we have any preschool staff, I believe it's preschool, right, that needs a background check. They have to have a more extensive background check than the normal just to be hired by a school system. This is part of the West Virginia pre-K regulations. Actually, I think it's a Head Start regulation, and because we are a collaborative partner of Head Start, that's why we have to do it. So anytime anyone comes along that has to have this extra step, then we have to pay for it. We have to pay for it right now. Like we have to send a check with the person to get the fingerprinting done. And that's what Identigo is, and you actually have one of those lists in your packet because we had to write those checks last week for 3 people to go have their special fingerprinting done. And then Washington Cares, that is where it comes, that's the other side of it, where they read it and maintain the database and let us know if there's anything, unusual in the background check. So they go hand in hand, but they're 2 pieces of that puzzle. And those we have to do them, you cannot follow proper purchasing procedures with those, they have to occur as they occur.
Dr. Minnie, you have a recommendation there?
Yeah, I do. I clicked off of it, actually. I recommend making a motion to approve payment to the West Virginia Cares for application fees and Identigo for fingerprinting as needed for the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve payment to West Virginia Cares for the application fee and the Indigo for the fingerprinting as needed for 2024-2025. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Alrighty. Next item, discussion or possible action of the creation of middle school clubs and organizations. So I'll open up the floor to Dr. Minnie if he has something to start with.
Well, we
or-
just started researching about the development of clubs. I went to the high school today to have a discussion with both principals about clubs, student leadership opportunities at both Gilmer County Accountability Team reviews showed up as one of the main big rocks for improvement that led the student survey. So with that being said, we really want to try to plan this out. We want to get a good club plan. We got I have implemented clubs in a different district. I found that old, it was called a culture and leadership framework, and kind of have a framework hashed out, but would like to have some time to really work with the leadership team and the student councils to identify exactly what they would like to have done.
What are we talking? Like,
So-
give me a.
Student leadership opportunities would be created through a time period in the day that was set aside for all students to get together and pick an activity that they wanted to do. Let's say some students might do FFA. That might be an average time in the week that students would go there, but other students might not do something so academic. Maybe it's video gaming. Yeah, video gaming.
Crochet, embroidery.
Something like that.
Intramural sports.
Intramural sports was one that was on ours. And there's other clubs that were on there that were more.
So we're not trying to start and keep a program like after school program, like a club like that.
I think, because we had talked about it several times
Yeah.
with the 8-period schedule, that there was room to create some things to get
The
kids
fun
more
stuff.
involved in school.
You're talking about
Exactly.
Yeah.
Want to come. Yeah.
Things that makes them want to come to school.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, if
with-
somebody's a reader like me, maybe they can have a book club.
Exactly.
Or, I don't know, if they want to learn to crochet. I mean, things that they would be interested in and passionate about, that they'd say, oh, I get to go to school today because we're
Yeah.
going to do this.
So we looked at what that might look like at each level, and it's different at each level. There's a lot of difference between a 3rd grader and somebody that's in 9th grade. But we're going to try to focus our beginning efforts in middle school and hopefully in high school, but outline a new kind of student leadership framework where they would be a part of a club. In that club, they would have a club leader. They would hold their own meetings. They'd be able to raise their own funding, but then they'd also do fun activities, and they would sponsor events, and they would do things as a part of that club. We already have an assembly schedule built in. I talked to both the principals today, and we could definitely run an assembly schedule. It's a shortened class. I think it shortens it like maybe 5 minutes or 4 minutes. And then at the end of the day, we have or maybe it's at the beginning of the day, but whenever the framework calls for that, we can run with, an organization, a club meeting that's ran by students. One of the things that I think, and we've had this conversation with both teachers, is we don't want to just throw this on teachers and say, here's an extra thing, plan all this stuff out. We want the students to plan their activities.
And what about, maybe we could do like the stipends for teachers
Right.
that would oversee it, like we have with some of the other clubs,
Right.
if you do so many hours, you get this, or,
Right. So-
something, you don't want it to be a burden on the teachers.
Right.
But I also think we've got to start playing to our consumers, which are our kids. We've got to see what they want to see, what gets them out of bed in the morning, something that makes them passionate about going to school. And like for my son, who's, 12, it's as simple as gym class, but somebody else, it might be a reading club or
Right.
because not all kids are passionate about the same stuff.
So my goal was to get together within the first 2 months of school and come back and present a student leadership framework that would include clubs to see what you all thought, and work with the school leadership team, the school principals, and the teachers and students to figure that out.
And I think maybe that the middle school is the good place to start because we're struggling a little bit in middle school.
Absolutely.
And I think more involved kids are overall better kids, putting forth more effort, coming to school, wanting to be a part of something. So.
Right. So that was kind of the plan going forward. I've already met with Mrs. West. We've already looked at the student leadership framework that we're talking about incorporating positive behavior and intervention support with it, where, another push for us is student discipline. We want a multi-tiered system of support so we can reward kids and reward student leadership. But then we started thinking about building in an entire reward system. And a reward system is something that we really probably need to have at the middle and high school levels. And that was actually in that whole original book that I worked with the leadership team with. We created a reward system that is still working today, and hopefully we can highlight that to the teachers and student council and administrators, and they can tweak and make it their own and figure out what they want to do. One of the awards that we looked at was similar, that was created. We had in Braxton, we had a Rising Eagle. In Gilmer County, we used to have Top Titans. We had that, we awarded the Top Titans at that school, and they had certain privileges, but those things have kind of went to the wayside. And this framework would not only build in clubs, but it would build in leadership opportunities and reward systems.
Well, I think that's very important. I mean, of course, in today's society, things have become very complex, but, basically children vie for attention, and it doesn't matter to them if that attention is bad attention or good attention. It's just attention. So, maybe if we can find interest and, personalize through clubs, then maybe that will give some of those kids a place to get that attention that they're craving.
And we really got to figure out what they want, which is going to have
For
to
that
be
sense of achievement.
Yeah.
what they want.
Satisfaction, purpose, drive.
When, with your clubs, one you might want to consider when you do it, my amateur radio club, we talked about part of this. If that was one and kids were interested in it, and if they were to take their technician's test to start with and would pass it and would join the amateur radio club, we would give them their first handheld pre-programmed radio ready to go.
That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, that's,
There's lots of,
Yeah.
there's hundreds of things.
Yeah, and we looked at some of those. Those were included. You mentioned entrepreneurship. We had some that started the club and then they went out and competed, and before long they were competing nationally.
There's a
So-
lot of business. Yeah.
So, we got to just figure out what the kids,
And that's
want.
a good point too, though, that to reach out with community members and seeing,
Mhm.
you know, if they want to do
Sponsorship,
a
yeah.
vehicle club or something, you know,
Get sponsors, yeah.
might be able
Well,
to.
heck, my mom even said she'd come teach them to crochet. You know, bring in community members to teach skills. And
So
my mom
we'll-
doesn't like people.
We will come up with a framework and try to bring that back to you all and let you look at it and get some feedback and see. Hopefully by midway through the first 9 weeks, we can roll out some clubs.
With costs related to it, is that coming out of the pre-approved budget that we'd already set a while
I
back?
bet you could
See-
probably use levy funds.
We did not even have a budget. We created clubs and did not have one single budget. I mean, I'm not saying that we wouldn't have to buy some supplies. If we had a radio club, we might have to buy some technician books, but those types of things I think we can find funding for. But
Well, I meant with like even if the teachers have to get a supplement or something, we approved some a while back for.
right, those wouldn't be, those would be the extracurricular academic supplements that we
But then if
approved.
it's during their school day,
Yeah,
I don't know.
we couldn't do that.
Then you just let them start a club with their personal interest in the kids that want to filter
Yeah.
in. And then the ones that don't have anything, then those are the ones that just oversee the kids that have their own club.
So, but we would be looking at people to sponsor clubs. One of the main clubs that we had was intramurals. Kids, I mean, believe it or not, people just want to go watch people play basketball in the gym.
I was thinking
Colton
ultimate,
loves it, so.
thinking ultimate frisbee.
Um, and there's lots of different partnerships. We could partner with the DNR. We could partner with a lot of different
Fishing
I think
agencies.
the college does a
Yep.
video
Esports, yeah.
gaming, esports.
Well, that's what you threw me off because when I think of starting clubs, that's what you have to do before you actually like have a team. You have to have a club. Like we had a wrestling club, and then the next year we had a wrestling team or a wrestling whatever they call a wrestling team.
So we just kind of figure out what would inspire the student. And that's going to be surveying the students, getting them in school, surveying the students because
Some of that stuff though could turn into real things. Though,
Exactly.
is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like with the
absolutely.
coach, like the esports.
Esports.
team.
That's a big
There's
deal.
scholarships
Yeah.
now.
That's
But,
a big deal.
and
They have a
same way
big-
with like fishing. Fishing. There's fishing clubs, and the fishing club turns into a high
I bet
school
old
fishing
John
team.
Smart would come in and help out with the fishing club.
Yeah.
But there's there
Let's
is
use the boat.
there is some of those things have happened in other places.
Yeah.
And but I don't know what our kids would be interested in. And I'm realizing I'm pretty old, so what I'd be interested in is not what they're interested in. There might be a coding club. I don't know. There could
Yeah.
be something that I don't know about.
YouTubing or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a valid.
Yeah. What do they call those people that do-
Influencers.
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 Yeah. That's it.
But as far as we want something that will inspire
Yeah.
the kids in a positive
Yeah.
way,
You
and
know,
they can gain something for
I
it
think
to
we've
be productive.
got to start, looking at the kids and what they want and how we can get them motivated to come to school.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, and it sounds stupid, I know, but the difference from 5th grade to 6th grade in Colton wanting to go to school is night and day because of gym class. And I know it sounds stupid, but it is. Every day it's, oh, I can't miss today because I got to do this and this with gym class. And it's like,
Volleyball
great. And he doesn't care what it is, but, so if we could hit on that with every kid, I mean, wow, our attendance problem would be non-existent.
Yeah. So I would like to be able to have the opportunity to put together that framework and come back and in a month or two, and when we get it finished, and present something with some ideas about what the kids want
Sounds good.
and be able to report back to you all.
All right. I think we're all in agreement there, so no action needed, and we'll just move down to personnel. And start with professional.
First one is to hire, and the next three are resignations. This is a recommendation, hire Taylor Somerville, itinerant special ed education teacher, ALC teacher. Recommendation to accept Brittany Dooley, resignation, math teacher, GCHS, effective 7/22/24. Recommendation to accept Hannah Wilson's resignation, science teacher, GCHS. Recommendation to accept Monica Haley, resignation teacher, GCHS. And that's all on the professional side.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the professional section of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, we'll move to service.
Recommendation to hire Rebecca Wright as a bus operator, Gilmer County Schools.
So moved. Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the service portion of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. That is Shane Fork, right?
Oh, I am.
That's Shane Fork, right?
Yeah, it is.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right.
This
we'll
first
go-
one you need to,
Now you want me to get on to the athletic training?
All righty, Dr. Manning, we'll move into extracurricular.
As you can see, there's a couple resignations there, and then they're all the rest to be hired. But to accept the resignation, Susie Kirkpatrick, athletic trainer, GCHS. To accept the resignation of Amanda Stoddard, resignation head mini Titan softball coach. To approve the hire of Anita Roberts, counselor, itinerant, Gilmer County Schools. To hire Jacob Yoakum, National Honor Society advisor, GCHS. To hire Amanda Poole, SAT coordinator, pre-K K1, Gilmer County Elementary School. To hire Crystal Smith, SAT coordinator, grades 2 and 3, Gilmer County Elementary School. To hire Amber Frazier, SAT coordinator, 4-5, Gilmer County Elementary School. To hire Emily Ramazan, SAT coordinator, 6 through 8, Gilmer County High School. To hire Kelsey Hickman, SAT coordinator, 9 through 12, Gilmer County High School. To hire Larry Gwynn, assistant varsity football coach, Gilmer County High School. To hire Robert Smith, assistant varsity football coach, Gilmer County High School. And hire Dan Page, assistant mini Titan football coach, Gilmer County High School.
So moved.
second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the extracurricular portion of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to that main motion?
No, just Susie, all the years that she's done that athletic trainer, she's been there. She went up with Avery, my son, and just all the years she gave us, just like with driving bus, I thank her for all of her time.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. That'll take us out of personnel.
Student assistant team.
I think that's a stipend position, isn't it?
And we'll move into continuous improvement. Dr. Manning.
I just have a handout. I wanted to highlight, you'll take one and pass it down. Our test scores are still embargoed, but I wanted to kind of give you an update about where our performance has been lying. And some of these numbers have shown some really good improvement, and I wanted to highlight those. This comes off the School Digger website, and it's where a lot of people focus attention when they're moving into an area to try to find an area that's good and suitable for their families. And you can see Gilmer County High School there is ranked 39th out of 112. And Gilmer County Elementary is ranked 181 according to School Digger out of 368. And Gilmer County Schools, you can see there on the right-hand side, is ranked 30th out of 55. So we've shown improvements in all of those. And I would think once our scores are released, we're going to see some more improvement, some good improvement, I think, from the elementary school as well. So it should go up even higher than that. I put a couple graphs on there. Gilmer County Elementary Schools, you can see we've moved past the top 50%, and you can see that they're climbing now. We're above our 2018. We're kind of in the upward trajectory there with statewide performance and test scores. It's as high as it's been since 2018. And then you can see the high schools as well. There was a couple down years through 2021 down to 22, and you can see that's an uptick. And I'm guessing that's going to remain flat for a year or two, and then we'll see the vast improvement coming from the elementary starting to go up into the high school years. So we're kind of happy where those are at, and you can see that some of those have been kind of on a downward trajectory since the county since about 2017, and we're starting to tick up there. And I'm really hoping that next year is going to be a real breakout year. It looks like it could be a real breakout year for the elementary school, and hopefully we can maintain. And we're going to show some improvement too, I believe, in every content area this year, except maybe a few. The middle school, of course, is going to be the focus, and that's where we're going to focus. But I just wanted to show you that because that's what other people around the state. When Mr. Barton went to the admin council, one of the board members said, "What are you guys doing over there?" Because they were starting to look at this data coming out across. We stack up pretty well against most all of our other local competitors except Doddridge and Ritchie. We're outperforming Braxton, Lewis, and Calhoun in most of those areas. And we're going to continue to try to have our school system perform at the highest level, not only for our students, but to recruit students here and families to Gilmer County. Our population has dropped. I'm not telling anybody anything that they don't know. It's everywhere in central West Virginia, but we are in dire need of families, and we have a good place to live. So we want to highlight those things. And when our test scores come out, I think there's going to be plenty to highlight that we're going to be working with Project Connect and getting out there to the public so they can see this information. But I just put that little one-pager snippets together there for you guys to be able to look at.
When do our test scores like go out of embargo? About what time of year does that happen?
Around August, but they're still embargoed.
Whenever they redo this, will you update us on this and see where
We'll
we
have a
go?
whole different list of individual scores that will come and present.
I'd just like to know this though, to know where we rank, among other schools and stuff in the state. That's good. Like you say, that's when people move into our community, that's what they're looking at. So
I'm really
like to
hoping
look
to
at
be after next year up in the top 25, and then hopefully up into the top third by the year after that.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Dr. Benning. We'll just continue into the superintendent's update.
Got a few things here on my list. You had Mr. Price's handbook. You're also getting a link from the high school principals. You should have. We don't plan to have that on the agenda for approval until the 12th of August. So you got some time to look over. Let us know your feedback, your concerns, so we can make plans accordingly. And then we will try to approve all the handbooks. We also have Gilmer County Schools handbooks, staff employee handbooks, lots of different things that we have created structural wise in the past year that have taken.
and that's all on board docs, right?
It will not be. Those handbooks are not on board docs. Those are just local school policies, and those are emailed to you.
Oh, okay.
So you will be able to go in there and look at them. We are feverishly working on an employee handbook at each school, so our employees know how to do everything from how to spend money or how to fundraise or how to call a substitute or the basics. So we've got that process, and we're getting close, right, Ms. West? We are getting close. We have not had a Gilmer County School Staff Handbook for quite a while, but that's something that we always used to give out. And we're trying to get back to handing those staff handbooks out, which will be included on a teacher desktop reference, which we are ordering notebooks for those that the teachers will have on their desks, and they will have access to all of the handbook, our requirements, kind of our non-negotiables as a district, but they will also have their lesson plans and a whole bunch of other material. And hopefully we can work on teacher retention that way. The teachers will be able to have access to everything that they need in that one-stop notebook. We have already started on the creation of a student leadership framework. After that was on the agenda, we started on that. To give a calendar update, our calendar has been accepted by the state. I contacted Mr. Gibson at the state, and our spring break is in the last week of March now, which aligns with Calhoun, which solves the Career Center kids coverage problem. Just another update. I have this on there. Test scores are still embargoed. We're looking at maybe mid-August is the date that we're being proposed. Another upcoming meeting that we're having is Project Connect. If you would like for Project Connect to cover anything in particular, let me know and I can relay that information. But we're making kind of a yearly outline for Project Connect. There's also an email that was sent out today about a new, by West Virginia School Board Association, about a new training portal where they update your hours. I'm sure everybody probably has already seen that. But I just wanted to give everybody an update. If you haven't seen that, there's going to be a portal that we update our hours and so forth. And we're just plugging along. And we have Principals Academy August 1st and 2nd. We're going to be training the principals and lots of new stuff, including those teacher desktop references. And, our accountability team's going to be meeting. So we've got a academic calendar that we've kind of outlined, and we're getting that tidied up, and we're just getting ready for the year.
All righty.
Sounds good.
That'll move us into board member comments, and I'll start with Mr. Barton.
I'm good, thank you. No, I
Okay.
didn't.
Mr. Fresher.
No comments.
Dr. Miller.
I don't feel like talking anymore.
Mr. Chapman.
Motion to adjourn.
I have none. All right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and second. We adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Meeting adjourned.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can have
have
one.
I have an
Absolutely.
extra.
Okay, yeah. And that's all on the